websites. One, what they do, the functions they have, and then two, why they're important. So to kick this off, Eric, kind of want to ask you, I mean, we've been working together on creating campaigns and doing what we can to drive traffic to websites. I would love to hear kind of why you think they're important, what function they have, and just kind of get some insight into what you think.
I mean, for me, like working, I guess like in the industry for a little bit, and definitely going to be a little bit different than a random person, but like, I mean, it's essentially your representative online. And so like, and especially nowadays, like where you go online to find anything, Google's your phone book.
Yeah.
So it's also like your listing. If you don't exist online, like to a good chunk of the population, you just don't exist because they can't find you.
Yeah, back in I was born in the 80s, so 90s, early 2000s, when it came to trying to find, I didn't buy too many services. It was more products. My parents were more into services. But when it came to trying to find a baseball card or a baseball glove or something, obviously my background is baseball, so everything deals with baseball. When it came to finding anything, I had to go to Big Five Sporting Goods. I had to go to Play It Again Sports. I physically had to go somewhere to, one, even see the inventory, and two, if there's something there that I even like, then it's kind of a waste of time. So kind of what you're saying is the importance of it is you're giving people the convenience of not having to leave their house to research the products and services that you do, and that helps give people insight into what values you bring. And so lack of friction by giving information about what you do or what service or product that you offer, by giving it to them without having them leave their house, you're more inclined to...
Or even if you have to leave your house to like do anything with your service or product, like just knowing that you exist.
Yeah.
There's a laundromat by my place, and I was driving past it to go to a different one because they had nothing online. I didn't know it was there.
So when you went to this other laundromat, how did you find it? Or how did you get the directions to go to it? What was the process you took?
The one I knew about, I would just put it in online.
Gotcha. So you just knew about it?
And then the other one, I was driving past it constantly. I didn't even know it was even closer. Didn't even know it was there because it had nothing online.
Yeah.
Because even after I saw it, because there was nothing online, I almost assumed, it's a laundromat, so it's not like there's people in there working or anything. So I almost assumed it was closed down.
Yeah.
Because there didn't really pay attention. Yeah, there was nothing, no online, like no open sign, like nothing like that. So I didn't even know it was there, and then when I found out it was there, I didn't know it was actually a functioning place.
Yeah, and you hit on a good point. It's like if they don't have presence when it comes to, if you're gonna take money out of your pocket to give it to a company, it's all about, are you legitimate, and is one of the factors, are you online? Is that something you look for? Like, would you be more inclined to go someone if they actually had an online presence, had a website, showed what their store looks like, as opposed to, let me pull out my white pages?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For who has white pages anymore? Like, if I can at least look, there's Yelp, there's the Google Places and stuff where you can see, like, even if I want to just see when they're open, those are the pages I'll usually go to, much less see if they exist. Like, I'm going there, I'm seeing with Google, like I'm seeing when they're busy. So depending on what the place is, I can go when they're not. But yeah, like I definitely, like especially like food or anything like that where it's like an experience there. Like you're not just looking for a specific product. Like you're gonna go on there and try to see what other people said, or like get some pictures of it, or maybe like a walkthrough or something, just so you know what to expect, so you're not wasting time.
Love everything you just said, especially about the reviews. So like, as you're researching, what are the factors, or like what content on the site one gives you, okay, I'm reviewing, I know more about them, but then what is the content that is the decision maker for you? Is it just simply you know more about them, or is it those reviews, or
Depending on what it is, I mean, yeah, like I just want to know anything about it. Like for a lot of it, I'll go see, like, is it a crappy looking site? Like, working with some companies, I realize that's not always their fault, but then again, that kind of goes with how trustworthy you are. Like, there's a lot of places I feel like, especially with the internet, like stuff just goes up because people are trying to scam you, and so they know they need that, so they put it up. And try to get you to go in or whatever it is with the site. But like, how does it look? Can I find what I want? Like, if you're a restaurant, I want to know your hours. Like, it shouldn't be that hard.
yeah,
Like, and then depending on like if it's like, I'll go to a hardware store. I realize not every hardware store is going to have everything listed like Walmart or something is, and that's fine. But just, do I know your hours? Do I know when I can go in? Can I call in?
When are you
Is it the
accessible?
number? Yeah.
yeah.
Like, if they have the products on there, awesome. I know if I can go in there and get it, then like even better. But like, I realize not every place is gonna have a whole online inventory, especially if they're like a smaller shop.
Yep. And so when you're something that you don't know, something you don't have a brand affinity towards, like a special restaurant, you're gonna go to them. If you're researching something new, do you typically get in your car, go place to place, see what they look like, see what they have to offer, or do you just hop online and kind of browse around?
Oh, definitely.
I know it sounds pretty rhetorical, but I mean it's a segue into what I'm about to say, and obviously from that reaction, you go and browse online, and you go to see what hours people have, the pictures that they have, the reviews that they have, but essentially it's a research point. Like, we live in a time where now it's not just cool. I know I need a piece of plumbing. I'm going to Ace Hardware. You're going to research who has it at the lowest cost, what time are you available, do you have live chat, do you have a phone number, can I ask the questions that I need to get answered before making that decision? And would you say that the companies that have more of those resources, the live chat, the numbers, the hours available, are you more inclined to go work with them, or the people that are like, I offer parts and that's it? And
Yeah, I mean, if I can find out everything I need to know before I even go there, like, it's just so much easier, and you're more likely to have a good experience, to where even if it's not the greatest place, you're like, that was really easy. I'm going to go there again next time I need something from like a part or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it just makes it so easy. Like, I've told you before, I get like one of those subscription boxes. Something goes wrong, I can hop online, send them a message like through Facebook Messenger, and they're like, "Oh, sorry about that. I need like a replacement thing. Something was broken." They're like, "Okay, no problem." And in that message, in 10 minutes, they're like, "All right, we got another one being shipped out to you." I'm like, "Awesome." I'm probably going to keep getting it instead of being like, "Well, it's going to be another 2 weeks. We're going to get this done, and we might have to charge you for something." And you're just making it harder on me. I'm like, I'm going to cancel this in the next month, if
Yep.
not sooner.
So it goes back to that friction standpoint. By having an online communication standpoint, you don't have to deal with someone. You don't have to call in. You can get what problem you have solved right then and there. And so it creates less friction. Now you're retaining customers because it's not, I'm tired of dealing with them, I'm going somewhere else, I'm never going to buy from you. You're at least now giving them a platform in terms of customer service to alleviate your problem. And this whole, what you just said is perfect, because it's a segue into so many people look to try and sell on their website, that so many people forget that it's a way to automate customer service. For example, you going on live chat, sure, that's someone that could be typing. They can also take on 6 different people at the same time, because not everyone's going to be communicating all at once. So now you can service 6 people with one customer service rep. If you only do it via phone or coming in, it takes one person to communicate with one person. So now to communicate with 6 people, you have to pay the salary of 6 different people. Whereas if you can figure out a way to logistically communicate and offer customer service on your website, either through email, live chat, Facebook Messenger, I feel is the best way to do it, because there's a lot of automation that you can do there. So you can even alleviate a customer service rep and communicate and fix someone's problem without creating friction, without creating overhead by hiring new people. But now you're creating less friction. You're happier because you have your problem solved without having to go in, pick up the phone, talk to someone, whatever it may be. So
wait on the phone for 20 minutes and 30.
Yeah, I mean, it takes 20 minutes to get through a stupid phone tree. I mean, it's
Yeah.
T-Mobile just did a huge thing where everyone's talking about, oh, they're going to expand their services, they're going to expand this, and like what they invested in was the customer service, because there's nothing more annoying than, like, the quickest way to lose revenue is to make it hard to get your questions answered and go through a phone tree where it takes 10 minutes to even get, and it's like, you know what, I want to try and get this bill solved. Like, I should be getting charged $10 less, but the fact that it takes me an hour to even get a hold of someone, I'm going to go to Verizon now, as opposed to, let's beef up our customer service and get it answered.
And even like Facebook Messenger or like a messenger service like that, I mean, because some of them, they give you the expectation, like typically replies in, an hour or two. So, I think that's one good thing too. It's like, even if that's not like instant, like it's a chat. Yeah, there's an expectation, and especially like if you're busy all day and you have a free second, you can send that message, and then they get to it, they send you one back. And then in your time, you have it, you can just respond back, and then they'll get back. Like,
and now you can cross-sell and use your website to see what people are actually doing. That cool. Now that you bought, we have some of your money. Now, the hardest thing is to get a new customer. The most expensive thing to do is get a new customer. The next thing you can do there is now retain, and then you can just cross-promote and say, hey, if you bought these Nikes, you're probably into... check out these other things that we offer.
Right, exactly. That's when you show like the accessories and stuff. Like, you bought these Nike shoes. How about this shirt? These, track shorts or something.
Yeah, so by having the website, you can identify the different areas that your website offers, and then just essentially cross-promote. Like, that's, yeah.
I've just been mad. Like, I bought a couple things, and then now I'm just getting random 20% off instead of like anything else. I'm like, I just spent all my money there. Like, I'm done.
Yep. And then even like going back to the funnel, I know this is something we talk about quite a bit, good old funnels, but it's knowing where someone is at in the customer journey. And if I've introduced myself as a brand, I'm a shoe brand, I have all these different shoes, you can use the website to get a gauge of what other people are doing and what they're consuming. And it's like, cool, you've been to a lot of Nikes, but you haven't bought, but you've also been to Reebok. Why not start serving Reebok ads or something that are similar to Reebok? So by having the website and by having the tracking and everything done properly, you can, at the end of the day, you can really get an insight into a customer's wants or what they need, and then you can serve up messaging that...
yeah, and like experiment with the messaging to... Like you said, if they went to Nike and Reeboks, if you're showing them a bunch of Nike ads, no one's buying, start showing them those other ones. See if that's what makes them buy, because they're not interested in the Nike anymore. Or like, instead of just the same thing constantly, like you have all the information. Or if they did buy the Nikes, then create a list and exclude it for people that have bought. Or at least stop for, depending on what your product is, like for shoes, like stop for a couple months maybe.
And here's even another thing is like cross promoting. If someone bought a pair of a size 14 Nikes, serve them socks that are size 14. It's once you know more information about people, want not only just purchasing but where they're at in the funnel, you can then take other content and again just cross-sell. And it's all about taking data and identifying what makes someone tick. serve up content that might resonate with them. And then that's when it comes into the whole data aspect of things is, cool, this message is resonating well, this message is not. Once people click on this message and get to the site, are people staying? And so when it comes to taking actions, what are the biggest actions that you take on a website? Like, so much I see everyone trying to optimize towards form fills. Fill out my form. Cool, you get an email. Email marketing does produce great conversion rates and everything like that. But as a consumer, are you wanting to fill out a form? Are you wanting to fill it out and then wait 24 to 48 hours, business hours to get what are some of the
yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Like, just even working with people, everyone want a form fill, but half time, like, no one, I don't like doing it. Like, form fill for me at least is like the last resort. If I can't call and talk to you, or like if you have a message thing at all, and then because I know any form fill is going to be like at least a day, and so like that's my last resort. And generally, like, for emails, like, sometimes I'll do it, but I generally don't. I mean, you get like the discounts and things for giving your email away, and I mean that's what usually will get me, like something free if you give them your email. I'm just like, I can just unsubscribe.
So even when it comes to filling out a form, it's not like, cool, I'm filling out a form so you can contact me. The only time you're filling out a form is if you get value. Like, if you get a discount, if you get episodes served to you. For example, like, what we're going to have on our website is the only time you're going to fill out a form, unless you're on the contact us and looking to contact us, is the form is going to be getting value. How many of these episodes do you want a week? Do you want all of them? Blah blah blah. But it's giving value. And I see so many people like, give us your email.
Yeah, right when you get there.
Why?
Right when you get there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here's
3 seconds after you get there.
Here's a whole nother thing. The whole just. Please, anyone that is listening that has a website, just can you update your triggering to at least be when people leave the website. Like, there's nothing that kills your average session duration, your bounce rate more than, and let me back this up, the higher time spent on site or average session duration and the lower bounce rate you have, the more conversions you're going to get. The one way to get horrible bounce rates and horrible session durations is right when someone lands is to say, give me your email, and not even give a reason why. And so, I mean, how many sites do you go to where literally the first, like, you'll click an ad, they pay to, they
It's kind of surprising, like, how many do that within, like, 6 seconds of getting, like, it's always like you're trying to read something and all of a sudden it pops up, and then depending on, like, the site, because some try to be more creative with it, where it's like you can't find the X or the no thank you, like.
And even then, even when you have the pop-up, the X is so hidden. It's like, if
I get mad when they try to hide it just to make it more difficult.
Why? Because it's more friction for you to try and consume the content that you want. I don't understand why so many people try and make it to where we're gonna play these games where we're gonna have it show up and then make it impossible to leave. Where it's like, cool, I'm not going to give
us
you
the
my
email because they're basically a hostage.
Yeah, exactly. And chances are, I mean, there's a percentage in which if you show that to 100 people, you might get one. But if you make it to where big bold lettering, hey, exit out of here, or just make it to where, hey, I just give them value. Like, we want your email because we can continue to communicate. We can show you, like, give a reason why someone needs to give their information, especially when it comes to, like, the whole Cambridge Analytica, the Facebook, everyone is more hesitant to give out their information. That, like, you need to give a reason why you want it.
Even if you have a pop-up, like, maybe add a little form at the bottom of all your pages then.
Yeah.
Instead of you have your one chance, and they try to get you to, like, force you to almost, and then when you actually have enough time to look at stuff and are interested, you can't find it, or Like if you're trying to get like a 10% off or something,
Yeah.
and it's just gone forever.
Yeah. Yeah. For example, I mean, bigger kids, we've seen, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's like 10% increase in average session duration since we went from right when you land, it shows up, to the exit intent. You just get more people to stay longer. When you get people to stay longer, they consume more content. When they consume more content, they're more inclined to buy. It's a very simple equation.
And I love the exit intent thing, because it's like as your attention's going away from the page, you're trying to click on the X, like a new thing pops up. So then you have to look back to see what it is.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, most people will, because it's just, I mean, I think that's just human nature. Like, something pops up out of nowhere, you're going to look at it.
Yep.
And then you may get that person engaged again if they were looking at stuff and want to buy or thinking about buying. That could be the thing that pushes them to do it, or at least consider it.
Exactly, especially if you're giving some value. So outside of just like what I'm saying to you, what values you add, there's a whole emotional side of things that happens on a website. For example, the images that you select, you can use just, I mean, crappy stock photos, which people can see a mile away. But I mean, it's amazing just changing imagery just on the hero image. Like, what a hero image is that image that shows up right at the top. Choosing what image you use there, whether it's just a product image or it's someone, I mean, that changes on-site engagement quite a bit, and how you feel about the page when you get there. Like, does that affect you at all? Like, if you're looking for soccer balls and you see a trumpet, are you more inclined to stay, leave? Like, I guess, I mean, you know what I'm getting at? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, I think I've told you about this before. Like, I worked with one guy who they made like homemade shampoos and things like that, like all homemade, no chemicals, parabens, all that, whatever. And you get to the site, first thing you saw was a deer. Like, like if you're searching for shampoo, and the first thing I see is a giant picture of a deer that took up the whole screen too, so it's not like you could see anything under it. It was just a deer. Like, I'm assuming I'm at the wrong place, and I'm leaving.
And so what are you doing right when you get there?
You look at that, and then you leave.
All right, so what are the chances of you buying from them if you're leaving right when you get there because the imagery is wrong? 0%. And so it's like, it's amazing. There is and I can't remember how long ago it was, but I came across a study where all they did is all the same content and everything. The AB was, one, the baby was looking right at you. It was for baby food. And so, one, the baby was looking right at you on the page. The B was the baby was looking to the side over at the content. Now, they had eye tracking to see where people were looking. Yeah. Whenever the baby was looking at you, 90% of the people just scrolled down. When the B version was there and the baby was looking at the content, it was like 95% of the people looked at the content, and in order to get people to buy, they need to consume your content. So just by having something look a different way, aka look at your call to action, what is it that you want someone to do on the website? Like, create imagery that kind of looks that way, so when people look at that image, they see what they're looking at, and then look at the call to action, let's get your email, reach out to us via phone, send us an email, whatever it may be. But it's amazing what imagery could do, and what things are looking at, what images you have. I mean, how much that affects your performance on site. And so in terms of A/B testing, it's huge to not only test the content that you have, but the imagery that's there.
Oh, definitely. Like, again, like just having quality stuff on there, like we talked about before. But even if you don't have all your own stuff, like using stock stuff that isn't like all pixelated, or if a picture is, like getting a different one or a higher resolution one that's better, like, because people notice that and they associate that with your brand. Like, you might make the highest quality baby food, but if the picture on the top's all pixelated or like just looks like crap, I'm gonna assume it's not that great.
Yeah, so you never even get a chance to even say what it is that you do, because first impressions, every impression counts. Boom.
Exactly. Like, it is funny because I remember learning too. I mean, people, you have those quick judgments. I mean, like, that's how our mind works. But with products, people do it with like basically what you have. You take all the information you have at the moment and make that judgment. What was it? Like a story in a marketing class about this person sold this really high quality jewelry, but they sold it really cheap. Because they could, and then they thought they were going to sell a bunch. They didn't sell it, and then in the store they were gone, and someone that worked for them labeled it wrong, and basically like double or tripled the price, and then they sold a bunch. Because these people that come in there don't know anything about this. They see the high price, like, oh, that must be high quality stuff, because that's all the information they have to go on. They're like, oh, it's high price, it's got to be good. So then they sell a bunch. So it's like, you have to give all the best information you can, because people are making those quick judgments based on what they know.
Yep. And would you say that people's attention span are growing or decreasing?
Oh, it's definitely getting shorter.
So and that puts such more value on what imagery are you showing, what quick key points are you giving your brand in terms of value when someone gets there. And these are the little things that get overlooked. Is sure, you might be able to do and get your point across in 8 seconds, but realistically the person only has 4, and if you can't do it in 4, how many people are going to be leaving really quick? And then how much are you spending to get someone there? And it's basically a mathematical formula at that point. It's like, cool, what can we do to get someone to just stay a second longer? When we get them to stay a second longer, this is how many more conversions happen. When that many more conversions happen, our margins get bigger, because we still have the same budget, but we're just getting more people to convert, because we're just doing simple little things to test and try and get someone to stay an extra half a second, 1 second. And what imagery, what bold text do we have, what call-outs do we have? And those little things make a huge difference when it comes to a website.
How easy is it to use?
Yeah, I mean, what are the difference in margin, a 10% margin and 20% margin? That's doubling your profit, basically. And you could get to those numbers just simply by testing your website and using the data to see what is resonating with people more. And it's amazing how much time and effort gets put into what does this flyer look like, or something like that, as opposed to what is this website. Like, one thing I really want to push is, if you're looking to scale, instead of maybe hiring a new salesperson, take that yearly salary and invest it into your website and your communication. Like, the ROI from hiring a new salesperson, trying to cold call, do whatever, sure, they can produce whatever, but are your current people producing at 100%? Could we reallocate that money into beefing up your website content and the messaging that we do to get people to the website, to then create maximum efficiency with your current sales force, per se?
And even like, just make sure you know your website works. I mean, like...
And how do you do that?
Well, I was going to say, like, I remember working with one person who we tested it out, their form, and it went to their spam like folder in their email. Like, they didn't know that it was sending it.
They're missing opportunities.
So they don't know how long it was like that, but until we tested it out. But I think people typically just have no idea how their website even works, and how we've talked about like knowing what people look at, and just even having stuff mapped out to where you're able to tell if they're looking at certain things, or with like at Google Analytics, not just using any goals it gives you, like
smart goals,
like smart goals, like if it has one set up for, they spent 2 minutes on the site, that counts as a conversion. Like, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Depending on what you do, maybe something, maybe nothing.
Yeah, and you hit a good point. Like, depending on where you're at, if you're not tracking anything, SMART goals are definitely good in terms of direction. At least you can see what is causing people to stay. But I mean, if you're past that and need more, I mean, it's about mapping out Google Analytics and really getting the most data from your site to see how people are engaging and what you can do in terms of communication, where you send them, and everything like that to then help produce the sale.
Right. Just knowing, I mean, at least in the beginning when your site's being built or set up, like knowing how it works, what's all on there, where, I guess even having that, going through a strategy, not just throwing stuff up and being like, well, we have everything on there now, but if it's not in like a logical order or any kind of
Map.
yeah, like if I want to know something and I can't find it, it's on your site, but I can't find it, I don't care.
Yep. Yeah. And if it's not on the site, most business owners will be like, cool. They'll call us and ask, is your phone number accessible? Chances are it's not. Okay, so I was about to ask, I mean, as we kind of wrap this up, I have what I want every website to have, and so it's like there's one thing that's like I'd never see on a majority of websites. Is there something that you wish this every website would have? And I guess to preface, mine would be, even though mobile is the only way to make a call, I have an Apple laptop, and so many people leave a phone number off a desktop version because desktops can't make a phone call. But how many people are you missing because I can quickly just boom FaceTime and give you a call? Like my biggest thing is, why leave it off? Is it really that big of a deterrent that
with that doesn't make any sense though either, because if I'm on a desktop, I need to see the number to dial on my phone.
So that's another thing. Like I just been talking to more and more people where, hey, I recommend putting the phone number on the desktop version, and cool, if it's on there, I recommend making it clickable. Well, you can't make phone calls, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, how many people have Macs that can do that? And even this, like, I have Microsoft Communicator, so even if I were on Microsoft, they have something that can make a phone call. So it's like, why wouldn't you have the number on there, let alone... And so that was all prefaced to my, like, biggest thing that I would say on a website. I guess, what is your biggest thing? Like, you just go to... You're on Yelp, you're on whatever, trying to get information. What is the biggest pet peeve you see? Is like, dude, just put this on your freaking website. Like, what is it? Is it phone numbers? Is it direction clicks? Is it...
I'd say...
Good question.
That's a very good question. I mean, it's one thing is definitely having the number. Like, that's really annoying when you can't find... Just like a contact us. The other thing for me is like, because I'll do a lot of research, and I get really annoyed when you can't find information at all. Like when it's just purposely almost like bland information where it's like they want you to lead you to a call. To buy. And so they want to get you on the phone, but I know I'll have to go through a whole like rigmarole with not even if I don't have a phone tree, that salesperson is going to try to sell me. I just want a piece of information that you could easily just put on your website. I don't want to get a whole sales call because I'm not at that step. Like, I'm just looking for information.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'll get frustrated, just leave a site where I may have bought, but I can't. They purposely leave information off, I believe, to try to get you to call. And I don't want to call because I don't want to go through that because I'm not ready for that.
So now you're forcing someone to do something they're not ready to do. Now you're having to hire someone to take that call to communicate with someone that's not even ready to buy. And their whole incentive is to try and sell. Like,
And so you're gonna have unhappy people, like, depending on how pushy your salesman is.
Yeah, and that'll be all dependent on how stingy you are as a business owner and what incentives do you give and everything like that. Like,
I mean, I just won't call, and I'll just go somewhere else if I can.
yeah, so it's immediately lost sale. And I think to your point, what lacks is, like, people will always ask, what content should I have on a website? What phone calls are coming in? What questions do you get on the phone? What questions do you get in store? Like, that is what people are asking you. It's amazing how many people don't just put that on their website. They try and think of things to put on the website that don't even pertain to what people are even asking. And that right there is, like, what is your audience asking? That right there is the content that we need to have on the site.
Like pages.
Automate it. The more information that you can have on there that answers people's questions before they buy, the less time people are spending on the phone, the less friction people have, the less amount of workforce you're hiring to answer the calls that you could just answer on the website. And so it's amazing that if you just put a little bit more time, a little bit more investment in the website, how much more efficient you'd get operational standpoint as a company and save money.
I almost think too, it's not even more time. It's just more strategigic with what you're putting on there.
Reallocating your time.
Yeah, you're not even spending more time. You're just spending less time thinking of filler, and strategically thinking of what makes sense.
Yep. No, I 100% agree. And so kind of to reiterate is, what content do you have? Like, a website cannot just be sales, and that's where most people focus. So how are you servicing your audience from a sales and customer service perspective? Do you have all the right pixels? Do you have all the right tracking in place to, one, communicate with people after they get to your website and then go off and into their own social channels that don't convert or don't buy your product or service? Do you have tracking set up to track where people are going, what they're consuming on your website, and so it helps you in turn produce content that's in line with what people are actually doing? And so it just comes down to, do you have the right content? Do you have the tracking set up to even produce the right content? And then do you have tracking pixels? Do you have tracking in place to then further communicate with people after they leave and don't purchase from you? Is there anything else that you think?
No, I think you kind of covered it all there. Just being able to keep that conversation going after they leave with that potential customer.
Sweet. So the one thing that I would say is, one, how are you tracking how people get to your website and what are they doing? These are questions that I would have. Two, are you communicating with people after they don't convert on your website? And three, are you being too salesy and not information giving when it comes to your website? And those, depending on what you answer there, that might produce some of the work that you need to do moving forward. And I'd venture to say probably 99% of the people, one of those questions could be, I could do that better. Right. And the ones that don't, you're killing it. Killing it. Shouldn't even be listening to this podcast. Shouldn't even be listening to this podcast at that point. And so, yeah, that pretty much does it.